These are the Snapchat spectacles. These are the latest that all the kids are going after right now. They take 10 seconds of video right from the glasses, and you can see from the little light, it's recording a video right now. This is one of the many things that we're going to start to see coming going forward. A lot of cool stuff is on the horizon, and a company that's going to be worth about $22 billion as soon as they go public this year. I started this company 20 years ago, and when I started the company, I launched it with a newspaper ad. And it's kind of funny to think about that because I was starting a web-based business. Do me a favor, click forward one slide. I started a web-based business, and the web-based business was launched with a newspaper ad. Something traditional, something that you wouldn't expect to be running a web-based business through. It was a digital marketing business. This was the internet. But back then, a web page was simply for the sake of having a web page. Today, it's so much more. It's sunglasses. It's the phone in our hand. It's a million different devices you can use. Your car is connecting to the internet. My car drives me down the road, and I paid too much money for this car. It drives me down the road so I can browse the web while I'm doing that. It's the Tesla Model S. It's a beautiful car. It's a web browser built into it. That's the future, right? So you'd think this kid launches his business with a newspaper ad, and I was waiting for the calls, and nobody called. And I called my newspaper sales rep, and I said, hey, I'm kind of waiting for these leads. He said, well, keep running a few more, keep running a few more. The business is going to come in. And I didn't get any business from it. Now, it wasn't the best ad, mind you, and it wasn't in the right spot, so I could have been better. But here's what I want to talk about today. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to rethink your marketing budget this year. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you to spend all of your money in digital and stop spending in television and stop spending in newspapers and stop spending in radio, because Larry will attack me. He's pretty close. He might come up and tackle me if I tell you to stop spending in magazines. But I'm going to tell you, just take a small portion of what you're spending in these traditional channels and try and differentiate yourself. Differentiate your budget. Change what you're doing, because that's the theme of what we're here today. Don't throw it all away, right? Consider doing things a little bit different. Take a little bit of your television budget of what you're spending right now, take a little bit of your radio budget, and take a little bit of that newspaper budget or the billboard budget you might be running, and try some new things. And I'm going to give you 3 really cool things to take away from today. Your Comcast rep's probably going to be mad at you. Your radio rep's going to be upset, and Larry might be a little bit upset, but I'm going to help him at the end of the day. But what you're going to do is try some new things and challenge yourself to differentiate. Be better than your competitors. Be better than that facility across town. So one of the things that is happening this year, this is a really big year, because this will be the first year that, according to marketers and those that invest in advertising and marketing, the first year we spend more in digital than in television. Now, television is a huge, huge spending area. This will be the first year that digital marketing surpasses television spending, and that's a lot of money. Now, digital is a lot of different areas and a lot of different things, and there's so many things we could talk about and look at, right? We could talk about Facebook for 3 hours. Like I said up here, we could talk about just Facebook for hours on end. We could talk about email marketing for many hours. But there's some areas that you can really do right now that you can start to be effective in. And we'll talk about how you can do it as one and how you can do it as many. Because some of us are teams of one. Some of us have maybe a kid that's running it for us. Or some of us have a full team that's taking care of things. So how can you be effective with that? There are 2 areas in particular that I really love right now and find to work well. The first is email marketing. And that's been around for how long? And how many emails do we get in a day? A lot. But there's still ways that it can be really effective for you. How many people run group events or parties at their FECs? So raise the hands. Okay, so almost all this room. How many allow submissions through your website and receive leads through your website right now? So traditionally, what happens, and I'm going to speak from the FECs that I work with and know the best, traditionally what happens is somebody will jump on the website and they'll submit a form to request party information. If you work with Party Center software or somebody else, then they can book a birthday party online. But those larger events, those corporate events, they'll submit a form through, and the form will go to a sales team with a name and email address and a phone number, and the sales team will reach out. Brandy from CJ Barrymore's will give a phone call and say, hey, you're interested in this event. Let me put together some information for you. And then what happens from there? Kind of wait for them to get back to you? Maybe there will be a follow-up call. One thing you can do different is take your email marketing to a new level with that. So this can be done in MailChimp relatively easily. This can be done with any email marketing software. Put them into a funnel and put them into a system that will continue to take those leads and nurture them. So the first email they're going to get is going to be an auto response within minutes of them submitting that. Thank you for submitting your information for a party request. Brandy from our team is going to call you personally and get back to you with some great details and a way to make your party amazing. Brandy makes a phone call. Wow, it's like magic. Things are going amazing so far. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a trigger. And this is super easy to do. We're going to set up a trigger so that 2 days later, an email goes out to them again. And you don't have to do anything for this. You set it up once and it keeps happening. And it's so simple. An email goes out to them again. Just wanted to send you this checklist we thought would be valuable for planning your group event or planning your next outing. And it would be a simple one page or something contained within the email, a checklist of different things that they can do to make sure they're planning their best event. Make sure the venue has food. Have you looked to make sure there's enough parking or various different things that you might suggest for your location? And then you're going to send them another email 4 weeks later, automated within the system, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever you think is most appropriate for you. But you want to give them a little bit of breathing room, because what happens is what happens to the rest of us, to all of us in our days. We get distracted. We forget about what's going on. 10 other things come up, and all of a sudden now we're planning that event, but we talked to 3 other venues, and I just got to pick something. But the one that I might lean more towards is the one that stays top of mind to me. So I'm going to get another email from CJ Barrymore's or Octane Raceway or any of the great FECs in this room that's going to remind me about the venue. It's going to show me a recent party that was successful. It's going to show me what other people were experiencing. You're now using email to your advantage to sell more parties. Because according to Rick, what Rick shares with me, those are really good money makers for him. And it's a great tool. So from an email side, that works really well in a B2B space. But the B2C side, most consumers, they'll read your emails. It can be really effective, but there are better ways to do it. Is anybody in the room running text messaging, opt-in text messaging right now? That's far less than it should be. So next year, when I come into this room, it should be almost the entire room. There's nothing more valuable than a cell phone number. People read text messages within 90 seconds. They read your emails after about 90 minutes, maybe days later. Most millennials cannot stand to see text messages, the number, how many text messages they're sitting there on their phone. Ask a millennial. Like, that number needs to be 0. I can't stand having any other. So if you can capture their phone number with an offer and market to them later, the value of that is tremendous. Imagine at the front desk there when you're buying your go-karting or when you're buying your rock climbing or your ropes course or whatever it may be, an offer. Sign up for our text club and we'll give you a $10 game card right now. Is Rick still in the room or did he walk out? Well, if you ask Rick what a $10 game card costs him, he'll say, that's pennies, a couple bucks. He'll give away $10 game cards all day, and usually I'm there to collect them. I love getting his $10 game cards. But the $10 game card is a great way to hook them into getting their cell phone number and getting them an offer and joining the text club. Because then when your Tuesday is a little slow, or Saturday it's raining out and maybe traffic is a little slow, you send out a mass text message and you get people coming in the door, right? And it's not going to be send out a text message and all of a sudden like buses of people are coming in, but it will work. I promise you. You will drive visitors to your facility for such a small incremental cost. So consider text message marketing. Now the other thing that I want to talk about quickly and touch base on is social media. Because last year we spoke about social media a little bit, and it's always a very contentious topic because there are so many different areas to look at. We could look at Facebook. As I said earlier, we could talk about Facebook for days, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Yelp, TripAdvisor, you name it. There's a million different channels out there, a lot of different ways to pay attention to them. LinkedIn from corporate parties. But here's what I'm encouraging you to do. Pick a channel or 2 or 3 and do those really well. Do those channels really well. You don't need to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Be a master of a few. If your audience is on Facebook, I didn't even see you sitting right here. I'm sorry, there you were. If your audience is on Facebook, do Facebook really well. If you're CJ Barrymore's, and you're going to be showing your kids having fun at the facilities, you're going to be showing group events happening, you're going to be showing what's going on in your community, you're going to be promoting nonprofits maybe that came into your place, you're going to be promoting great other things happening around you, kids that won prizes, and then you know what? You're going to start doing Facebook Live. When your roller coaster opens, when's your roller coaster open this year, Rick? What's the date? Late April. So the beginning of April, Rick is going to start running some Facebook posts about the roller coaster opening soon, and they're going to be doing a Facebook Live broadcast right from the roller coaster. They're going to be riding the roller coaster doing a Facebook Live. You know why? Because Facebook gives preference to Facebook Live in the newsfeed right now. They want to promote Facebook Live. You see television commercials promoting Facebook Live. So what are they going to do? They're going to promote it to their audience. So Rick is going to give John a phone, and John's going to say, hey, everybody, it's John at CJ Barrymore's. We're doing a Facebook Live broadcast from the coaster today, and he's going to do it from Soaring Eagle when Soaring Eagle opens, and they're going to make a big deal about it because it's going to show up in the feed a lot more, and they're going to be really good at Facebook. And you don't need to spread yourself thin. Focus in those areas and be great at them. The last thing I want to leave with you is an important one. Track your ROI on what you're doing. This is not a hard thing to do. Set up Google Analytics to make sure the forms on your website are being tracked when they're submitted. Katie can help you with this very quickly and easily. If your Google Analytics are not recording your event and group form submissions right now, you are wasting your ad dollars. You're better off taking this money and picking it up and putting it in a barrel and lighting it on fire, because you can't track it. You don't know what's going on with it. So by doing that, it will tell you what the paid media maybe was that you were using, what the channels were, how they came in, was it social? And you can know where you're spending and where you're investing and what works and what doesn't. So tracking the ROI of what's happening is extremely important. With Scott's Party Center software, I know that you can track back into Google Analytics when a party was booked, and you can know where those parties came from. And you might find out some amazing things. You might find out that it's costing you $250 to get one birthday party to book. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
For a birthday party that costs $250, they're spending $250 and you're... Yeah, exactly. So be effective. You can be more effective with your spend. You can do a lot more with it from there. Those are some of the big things I wanted to kind of put out there today in the limited time that I have. The last thing I want to talk about is the Digital Performance Index. And the Digital Performance Index is something I've been fortunate enough to bring to this room every year. It is a tool that we built that measures the effectiveness of your website and your marketing efforts. Everything from the SEO to your social media, down to the usability and readability of your site. In years past, it was challenging because we had to pick, for some of you, which website was being used and monitored. So this year, we're going to allow you to choose and submit your website through, and then our machine will run the score on it. And it'll get it back to you pretty quick because it runs through an automated process that will score it based on these metrics that we put together and the score we established. So real quick, everybody pull out your cell phone. And this is how I'm going to get your cell phone number. Compose a new text message to the number 72,000, so 72000, 72 with 3 zeros, 72,000, and just text the word DPI. D is in digital, P is in performance, I is in index. You're going to get an opt-in message because we like to be proper and do things the right way. You'll have to reply yes to make sure you opt in to get a communication from us. And then you'll submit your website that you want to be monitored. If you don't submit one and don't change it, that's okay. I'll still run a score for you anyway, and we'll have one for you. But this way, we give the room a preference because last year a lot of people asked us to change it and run different ones. So after you send that text through, we'll deliver your DPI score to you. Here's the thing. The room is getting better. The room is improving. When I first spoke about this, the average score in the room was a 55 out of 100. It was a failure. It was a miserable grade. Last year, we got into the 60s. And this year, as we're evaluating the sites that we have already and we know from those sitting in this room here, we're into the 70s. So the room is improving. People are paying attention to this, but you can't forget about the different channels. You can't forget about the different things that you'll see. And I'm willing to offer some consultation, some time to talk about your score as part of that, and then you'll get a text from me as well on those different pieces. So those are the couple little nuggets I want to leave you with today, and I'm happy to take any questions if we have time for it.
If you guys have questions about the DPI, now's a chance, because if you have a 56 or a 59 or something, why should I go spend the money and make that work, make it different?
The way the score is created, and you'll see a breakdown when you receive your score, it's driven by a variety of metrics. All those metrics are important. So it'll take those metrics and average them out of 100. Right? So the higher your score, the closer you are to 100. The closer you are to 100, the more complete you're going to be, which is going to drive more leads through your website, which is going to get more attention and get more business, and ultimately, at the end of the day, more events booked or more feet in your front door.
All right, what about the guy that says, I'm getting my website now for $2,000? What do you tell him?
If that's the price you're paying, I think that's an incredible value. But it also, just look out for things. There are little things that happen within the website development process that can go a long way. It can include making sure that analytics are set up right, like I discussed earlier, and something Katie or I can help with, making sure that keywords and your site is optimized correctly. So sometimes just building a website isn't going, and I can tell you, always building a website isn't going to just suffice in its own. You have to do the right things to make sure you're successful and things are set up properly. So somebody, the kid next door can build you a website for $2,000, but is it going to have the things that are going to set up your business for success or not? Is what's important.
All right, like us, about 70% of our business is mobile. Yeah. So what's the most important thing? I got to stay tuned in on that.
80% of your traffic is mobile.
Shows you what I know.
It was 70% last year, and it continues to climb. So Rick's not off in his numbers based on what the most recent data I shared with him is accurate, but it's up to 80% now. And so paying attention to that mobile experience is extremely important. Looking at, go through it on your phone, and it's really hard sometimes as an owner, so hand it to somebody who isn't you. And ask them to, if you want to book an event with me, how would you do that? If you want to get more information on my location or my rides, how would you do that? And you can go to usertesting.com and do that for free, or I'm sorry, for $50 per test. There's a lot of great resources out there, but think outside of yourself for a minute. And it's not about just having a pretty website, it's about having a functional site and functional marketing too at the end of the day.
One last question. On this opt-in thing here, after it says yes, just type in the website?
Correct, yeah.
That's
You'll
it?
follow the link to the form and type in your
All right,
your
and
website.
when are we going to kick out the results on that?
We'll have them for everybody by tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Today.
All right, everybody. Paul Chambers.
Big hand for Paul, please.
Thanks a ton. It's great information.